Hello, everybody. Adam Parks here with another episode of Receivables Roundtable. Today, we're going to have a technology-based discussion with Brett Luntz, who's with the CEO of Remitter, which is a technology-forward organization in the receivables management space. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. No, I know you're based out of Australia, but you're joining us today from San Francisco?
So I was based in Australia, and I was running the company for about 6 months from Australia. And about 2.5 months ago, I packed my bags, got my visa, and I am situated long-term in sunny Buffalo, upstate New York. So today I join you from San Francisco. But yeah, Buffalo, my hometown at the moment.
Absolutely. So, for anybody who's not familiar with you, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you got to the seat that you're in today?
Yeah. So my background is growing financial technology companies, startup and upstarts, and taking them from, sub $1 million revenue and sort of sub 10 employees, and growing them to several hundred employees and, revenues in the tens of millions. I've been lucky enough in the past to have sold a couple of them to some publicly listed companies in Australia, and as well as a private equity group. And the last few years, I actually joined the corporate workforce, and I was at Australia's second biggest bank, running the technology portfolio of their auto finance division, which was then sold to Cerebus Private Equity for $1 billion. So fair bit of exposure in technology, in loan management, in invoicing, all sorts of those things. And around sort of 9 months ago, I was helping some colleagues of mine raise some capital to acquire a company called Mercantile. So Remitter Remitter is a digital collections company focusing on using email, SMS, and an artificially intelligence-backed payment portal to collect funds from consumers that owe money. There was a decision made to buy a traditional phone-based, called bums on seats telephony company called Mercantile, which has been around for 100 years, but really strong for the last 30. So they're based in Buffalo. I helped acquire that company sort of 9 months ago. And during the transaction, I said to the guys involved, hey, I think these two companies combined is a winner. How about I pack my bags and go over to the US and we give this a real crack?
I love it. That's how it works though, right? You identified an opportunity where digital collections was meeting the kind of old school and bringing those things together to create a whole new level of success. Now, as you're kind of moving on the Remitter side, can you tell everybody a little bit about Remitter and what you guys do there?
Yeah, so let's go backwards. Let's say in let's call it the olden days, pre-technology. The bank, ABC Bank money. You generally receive a call from John at ABC Bank, or later stage from a third-party agency on behalf of ABC Bank saying, you're $1,000. Would you like to do a payment arrangement, or are able to pay today, et cetera, et cetera. As we know, times are changing. People are picking up less private numbers. They're picking up less phone numbers that they don't know. Basically, unless someone's in your contact book, and sometimes even if they are, you're unlikely to respond. So we sort of saw that as a gap in the market, to fill that with a technology-based solution where a consumer can receive a text message or an email, which is unintrusive and takes that user to a payment portal, which gives them a variety of options. And there's a lot of players in the market that do that. And we've got, clients that approach us, don't use us, and 6 months later come back and say, we actually tried to do this ourselves. And they realize it's not just the sending of the email or the SMS. That's just how we get there. The real benefit of what Remitter does is an artificial intelligence-backed payment portal that we take the user to from that email or SMS. And what we're doing there is we're learning about the user's behavior. We're learning what they're clicking on. And more importantly, we're looking at what they're not clicking on. So as an example, you might be a little bit late on your credit card bill. We'll send you a text on behalf of the bank. You'll open up the payment portal, and we might notice that you've clicked that payment portal link 3 times, but you haven't paid anything yet. Okay. So what we're really trying to do is increase the propensity to pay of the user. What that may mean is the 3rd email or SMS that goes out has a payment plan option. A further later stage email or SMS, particularly if it's post charge off or something like that, may have a settlement offer, but we don't drown the user with all of these options to start with. And we can customize this across a client's entire portfolio, and we can drill it down to, as granular as a single user, where we see Adam has a balance of X, so we're going to run particular campaigns, or what we like to call playbooks, based on a storybook that we set up and define for a particular group or even an individual user. And what we see over time is the system learns this, and that unpaid original click to the portal turns into a payment. And we do little things like understanding when the user is opening the email or their SMS, and generally it's around paydays. They get their pay and, what do I owe? I remember I got the text from blah, 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 blah. But I guess the best way that we do it is we actually white label it. So as a first party contact center, the logo and the feel has nothing to do with Remitter. The user actually doesn't have anything to do with Remitter. It's ABC company. That does quite a number of things. If someone receives a text message and had a Remitter logo saying $1,000, I probably wouldn't be paying it. It gives them brand recognition. They do remember what they owe. It gives a description about what it is. And there's some nice things like some help buttons and some really cool functionality that we're releasing soon around payment settlement offers, which is basically like a 2-way chat system between the user, the consumer, and the lender. The lender, and we're concentrating on financial services for the purpose of this exercise, has access to an admin portal. And in that admin portal, they get a range of statistics. For emails, they understand how many of those emails were opened, how many of them took it to a payment portal, what payments were collected, how many payment plans have been set up, payment plan failures. We can set up different measures so that, a payment plan failure happens after 3 failed attempts or 5 payment attempts. The point here being, it's not just a one size fits all. We've got account managers that work with the staff at the at the lenders or medical companies or whoever we're helping to collect for, and we make recommendations about how to set up these playbooks. So one of our customers can take the system off the shelf, use it all themselves, but generally we find it's a hybrid combination of us account managing as well as the staff that's at the company we're servicing, logging in and getting information themselves. So it's a new world. In the old school world, you're giving off your list, you're sending data in. At the end of the month, you're finding out how much was collected and you're saying, wow, that was good or that was bad. And we've got a number of ways that we actually connect into people. It can be as simple as setting up a once-off data transfer that sends data into us once a day, and we send the payment and remittance data back once a day. And we've got clients that are fully integrated via an API where the second a customer pays, it's updating their core systems so that if they're doing outbound calls or they're doing something, they know exactly what's happened. So although we're an accounts receivable, in the end, we're an accounts receivable company helping collect money. By nature, we are a technology and data analytics company, and we're trying to find and use data in the best way to help our clients find the best way to collect from their clients.
Wow. So many questions come to mind as we go through this. So I guess let me start with this. I know you guys do a lot of work directly for the creditors, but do you also work for third-party agencies that want to be able to implement Remitter's technology, from a third-party perspective?
It's amazing. So interesting question. After we bought Mercantile, which was in September, and we slowly started transitioning their clients over to using the Remitter digital platform, and we're not trying to replace human being collections. Human being collections will always be there.
Mm.
It's a cross pollination. Since then, we've decided to maybe buy a couple more. And as we're calling companies, some of these are family-owned companies that have been going on for 20 or 30 years. And for those of you watching who aren't familiar with the landscape or the economy around collections at the moment, it is tough, particularly in the third-party space, in the agency space. So what we're saying to a lot of potential acquisitions is, hey, if you're not ready to sell or you're a family business, why don't you deploy our technology? And I would say 80% of agencies that we're speaking to, we're in active discussions about utilizing our technology, not to replace their
Sure.
business so that it becomes completely robotic. It just augments the ability to help collect. A great example of that is one of the agencies we work with. I noticed on their portal they actually had $0 collected from a campaign, and I went, wow, that's not what I promised them. I got on the phone, and I tend to be quite hands-on when it comes to new relationships and making promises and keeping them. And to my delight, the client said the inbound call center went absolutely ballistic. We collected 10 times what we did this week than what we normally would have. So what was happening was the email and SMS that was going out was providing a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
They were then calling into the call center. Some of these particularly are larger amounts where you're not going to just hit pay on $12,000. You're going to want to have a discussion about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the level of activity that was generated by the user opening the SMS or email was adding a significant impact on the inbound call center. I think something like 97% of text messages are read within 5 minutes of them being sent. So yes, any agencies out there that are potentially having difficulties at the moment or just looking to augment their existing collection strategy, definitely reach out to us. We're here to help. We are looking actively to buy some of those agencies as well, but we're definitely looking to help and utilize our technology to expand and increase those liquidation rates for agencies.
One of the biggest challenges I've seen for agencies that have tried to kind of do this themselves, right? Between the SMS, they're struggling with establishing a short code, kind of working through the process on the SMS side, but they're also struggling with deliverability on the email side. And so their domains are getting flagged. They're having all kinds of issues. And I know that that's something that you guys have, like a whole team of people that are constantly working on the science of deliverability of these digital communications. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, and I'll go a little bit into my background here. So I've worked on some very, very large platforms that rely on email and SMTP, et cetera, as critical type services. And all of the major, let's call them free email providers, Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, et cetera, they score the providers. So to try and do this yourself and do it from the ground up, your score is very low and near impossible. And we've had clients move over to us and go, wow, you sent it to exactly the same list, but you had like a 400% better open rate.
Mm-hmm.
We're not sending any better content or anything like that. The trust score from our platform over time, because we're doing things in the right way and we're very, very, very careful about the way we do things and anti-spam and all of those type of things. Our scoring is high, and it's one of the KPIs that's internally quite robust within our company. Just while we touch on that, the other thing that we've invested quite significantly into is around the TCPA Act and putting in all the safeguards. There are just so many rules and regulations. Back from where coming from in Australia, the regulation was, hey, you can't contact someone more than 3 times a week. Outside of that, it was sort of all bets are off. Do as you wish. over here, every state's got a different law, and it's around the times that you consent. It's around where the debt was originally conceived, where that user lives now. Those things layer on top of each other, and then on top of that, you've got federal regulations. And I'm proud to say that we are, highly conscious of those regulations and what we call guardrails. And we've got those guardrails at multiple levels, at the point of actually sending a campaign, at the point of ingestion, and actually at the point of delivery as well.
Very interesting. So if I'm understanding kind of all these different pieces, you guys are leveraging that digital, the email, the SMS, you're able to do that in a way in which you're actually getting those emails read or those communications read, because you've got the deliverability team that's kind of working through that. And then on top of that, your platform's layered with the compliance management necessary to comply with the web of requirements that come up on a state level, a local level, even, and then the federal regulations like Reg F on top of that. So being able to tie all of those pieces together to a digital platform that's ultimately tied back to a payment portal system that's got the AI is learning and then is ultimately tied back to the system of record. And then you have kind of two options for the system of record: a direct API connection where you're getting real-time information, which is kind of my like go-to, or they can go old school and do SFTP drops, or kind of integrate through one of these more antiquated methods if that's what they feel more comfortable with.
Geez, Adam, if you didn't have such a good business going on yourself, I'd employ you directly. You've got that nailed down to a T. And it's all those culmination of factors together that make this successful. If you do one of them well, if you have a really good, SMS and email delivery rate, but your payment portal isn't up to scratch, the whole thing falls apart, which is a big reason why we speak to people, and 6 months later we come back and most of them honestly say, "Have we tried to do this ourselves?" And it wasn't worth the paper that it was written on. And we welcome them back, and we help them on their journey. And our attrition rate, losing customers, is very, 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 very low.
Mm. I can tell you, look, I've living in the technology space in this industry for the last 20 years. I've had countless organizations come to me and say, "Hey, help us get this email strategy going." And my response is always the same. Look, that's not my expertise, not because I can't write great content and not because I can't send emails, but the science of deliverability over a period of time is something that is earned and takes a significant amount of effort, a significant investment, and it really is, to me, the differential, right? If you're going to get that initial contact from that consumer, or that initial re-engagement with the consumer, having those deliverability rates is just so key. And then actually being able to execute on that on the backside. Now, I love the story about getting people to pick up the phone, right? And so it's not all about the portal. You've been able to basically leverage that initial engagement and communication to cause payments, right? Whether those be payments of causing them to call on the phone because it's more of a commercial or a high balance portfolio and the consumer's feeling more comfortable through that method, or it's a low balance portfolio and you're getting them through the digital process. But it's always been my opinion that, from a compliance standpoint, when we talk about lawsuits and all those kinds of things, most of that is happening based on a consumer's communication or the consumer's interaction with a live collector. But if we can eliminate that, we're eliminating a lot of our compliance risks, because they're not going to argue with a computer. They might get frustrated with a computer, and not everybody is, computer savvy, but
Sometimes
you're not going to have a compliance
don't want to speak to other people about money.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly right. So like I said, it's a culmination of all those factors. And for anyone watching, what we generally tend to do if someone's on the border is we say, "Hey, let's run a champion challenge. You're obviously doing something yourselves at the moment. I'll give you the product free for 60 days. I won't charge you any setup fees. And you tell me." And people look at me and go, "Geez, we're not used to that." I say, "Well, I'm investing in myself. I'm going to pay for the SMSs. I'm going to pay for the emails. I'm going to pay for the tech integrations. But I'm pretty confident that whatever you're doing now, we're going to collect better." And if I use some examples, I won't say client names, obviously, but a number of clients, for every dollar they're spending in their own call center, sort of collecting between $4 and $5 back. Mm-hmm. And with us, they're collecting anywhere from $11 to $22 back, depending on the age of the debt, the size of the debt, and if they're able to offer payment plans and stuff like that, depending on their loan management systems. But for stuff like 15 to 90 days, debt's less than $500, I will guarantee you there's nothing better than collect in the collections game than Remitter, and happy for any potential clients to come and chat to me directly about that, so we can show the proof in the pudding.
Well, I can very much appreciate that. And I look forward to an opportunity to meet you in person at one of the upcoming events, maybe ACA or one of the other conferences that we have coming up in the near future here. For those of you that are watching, if you have additional questions that you'd like to ask us, feel free to leave those in the comments below. We'll be happy to answer any questions here on YouTube or LinkedIn. If you have any additional topics that you'd like to see us cover, you can leave those in the comments below as well. And I'm sure we will be more than happy between Brett and I to continue this conversation. And Brett, I hope you'll come back and we can talk some more tech. Honestly, I love this kind of a conversation. I really enjoy someone who knows their game and really understands the connection between the technology world and the collections world, because as we can bring those things together, we can create some incredible things and we can improve the experience for the consumer. And honestly, I think that's the most important thing that we can be doing.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, just as we finish this up. Like, people owe money, we understand that. Times are getting tougher, gas prices, through the roof. There's a good way to collect and there's a bad way to collect. And we find ourselves, we pride ourselves on doing it the right way, non-intrusive. You're getting a text, you're getting an email, you're not getting 1,000 emails. We follow all the Reg F regulations, all the TCPAs, but on top of that, we just try and do this the right way, and our clients really appreciate that. So again, really, thanks again for having me on board. Love to join another conversation. Anyone wants to speak to me about how Remitter can help them, reach out to Adam. He'll give you my contact details. I'm always happy to chat to a potential client directly. Just because I'm the CEO doesn't make me, we're very flat-lined at our organization, doesn't make me better than anyone else. I'm always happy to have a chat, and I look forward to many further discussions on these topics.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to meeting you in person, and thank you everybody for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.
See you guys. Bye.